Emotional connection is a key component of the human experience for most people. When we are able to share our thoughts and experiences with others, we tend to feel a safe, pleasant connection with those people. The Canadian Mental Health Association has published articles stating that social connection can lower anxiety and depression, improve our immune system, lead to greater self-esteem, and help us become more empathetic and self-regulated. As we've discussed, sharing thoughts and experiences, such as telling family members about an exciting or upsetting event from school that day, that can be very challenging for children with DLD. The Asha Wire article we've been talking about, called Narrative Intervention: Principles to Practice, is a great resource for us to understand challenges in storytelling for our kids with DLD. It describes research demonstrating that parents of children with disabilities often express their desire for their children to tell them about their day or what happened at school. Similarly, teachers need to know what happened on the playground when there has been an incident, or they may want to know what happened on the weekend. Peers like being entertained and sharing their lives with others by telling about their experiences. The article also points out that children who are good storytellers are more accepted by their peers and receive more parent and teacher approval. Narrative language skills also predict a child's ability to use language to solve social problems in the future. We know that kids with DLD tend to struggle with this type of communication, and we can see that there are clear ramifications stemming from these challenges. If children have difficulty clearly expressing their main idea and summarizing what happened effectively using words, it can feel really isolating for everybody involved. As we talked about in Module 5, research and common experience both show that if an individual is talking or writing about an event that listeners or readers did not experience, a ton of things need to go right in order for the message to be understood clearly. The speaker must use so many executive function skills, including organization, working memory, planning, prioritizing, sustained attention, flexibility, and so on if they want to tell their story well. The language they use needs to be precise and often requires complex, sophisticated grammar and vocabulary so that events, individuals, and images can be understood by people who have not experienced them. This information can be supplemented by gestures and body language to fill in the gaps, but they only go so far when sentences are imprecise due to grammar or vocabulary deficits. Good stories contain many complex words, some of which aren't used very often, and so may be hard for a child with DLD to recall. We know that sometimes it is hard for the child with DLD to stay organized in their thinking and link ideas using temporal phrases. When the experience is not described in a logical, sequential order, and temporal words are not used effectively, confusion often results. Also, it can be hard to determine the main point or main idea if the story is not clearly organized or if the speaker hasn't been able to take the listener's perspective to determine what information is essential and so must be included so the listener can make sense of it. When narrative language deficits have been part of life for a long time, as is in the case for our kids with DLD, they may get into the habit of choosing not to share at all, like we've discussed before, and therefore they have even less storytelling practice, or maybe they only share a little bit because that feels so much less difficult. Now, I'm going to give you an example, and it's probably a bit overly simplistic, but it does highlight some points I would like you to consider. So let's say you met a new friend from Italy, but you've only been learning Italian for a couple years and you aren't fully fluent yet. But you watched an incredible movie at the theater the day before, and you want to share with your friend all about the movie at your coffee date the next day, speaking Italian. This could actually be quite hard. You will have to speak in the past tense, use words that you may not be able to think of in the moment. You also need to link your ideas together and follow a logical sequence and consider their perspective and what they know about the situation. So by the time you get to the middle of the description of the movie, you may start to feel exhausted, realize that the movie doesn't sound so great after all, since you feel like you're butchering the retell, and you might even forget part of what you already said because you were so focused on trying to use the right words and the right grammar while speaking, and the demands were so great on your working memory. As you go, you may think to yourself, Maybe next time I will just get her to read a review online, or maybe she should just watch the trailer, as this was exhausting. When a child has undergone an upsetting experience like being teased or bullied or seeing something traumatic happen at school, there is also a big emotional component that makes it even harder to focus on getting the language out to express themselves. Sometimes, even sharing about a fun experience from recess that day can be overwhelming. If an older child wants to tell their best friend about an interaction with a new crush or something that happened at a party Friday night, but seems to clam up, it can be due to all of the many basic and higher level language and executive function skills that are required to share those experiences. It can feel scary as a parent to hear about all these different areas where your child may have struggled in the past, or maybe where they might struggle in the future, or what they might be struggling with right now. I hope you are beginning to feel empowered to help your child understand the areas that are more challenging for them by using reflexive questioning. You can help your child learn to affirm themselves and use strategies effectively as you help them develop that inner voice, directing themselves on how to move forward in the best way possible. This way, you can help them not get stuck in loneliness, giving up, learned helplessness, or in deciding that it's easier to just be quiet or to just keep their thoughts to themselves. You have the power as a parent to really affirm and equip your child, and that's what we're going to continue doing together.